Hello friends, in our last video we have understand what is Redux store. Okay, as I told lastly in that video, Redux store got deprecated. Okay, so it's best to use either RDT Redux Toolkit or Justent for the store. So the one which we have used earlier is a classic Redux, and we installed it using npm install Redux React Redux. Okay, now instead of that, so we still need a React Redux. Okay, but instead of Redux, which is a classic Redux, we will be going to use Redux JS Toolkit. Okay, it is Redux Toolkit. We will say it as a RTK. Okay, so in our last Redux store, we have discussed actions, reducer, and the Redux store, and the way how it works. RTK is similar to that. Only small changes we can see. So we do slightly different project structure here, and there are minor changes which we are going to discuss, and we are going to run the same example what we have run in last video with the help of RTK. Okay. We will see like a project structure for RTK now. RTK. We will create one store.ts file. It's the we should better to create only one store.ts file for all different kind of React store. Okay, one file we can use throughout the application, and we can have the multiple features like I'll tell you like what is this employee slice, but just for understanding, it's a replacement of what we have done in our Redux last time. Employee action, employee reducer. These two files will be now combined and will be named as something with the file name at the last is a slice.ts. Okay, it could be user slice.ts or employee slice.ts. We can have a multiple features. Okay, and this file is basically a combination of your action and reducer. Okay, so I will delete it later, but just for comparison I kept it here. So by following the structure, what I have created is one store.ts file. Here we have all these three files together. Now I created one store.ts file for RTK, which will be there, and instead of reducer and action, we are going to have a features employee slice.ts file, which is here. We can add n number of different features, and we can map it all into the store.ts file. I will explain how we need to do that. I suggest if someone did not went through my previous video of Redux, please just spend 15 to 20 minutes. It's a very short video. If you go through it and come to RTK, right, it is very well, you will be able to understand it. Okay. Now we had added this file store.ts file components. We have done slight changes. I can show you once I am starting with the project changes, and instead this one we can install now. Uninstall Redux. We can still have the React Redux. We still use it. So only thing is, instead of Redux, now we are using the Redux Toolkit. Okay. Now let me open first the file which is employee slice.ts file. Okay, if you see this file, right, it's similar to our previous reducer file. Okay, we have one interface for the employee, which we have seen even in the last one. We like earlier we had the similar initial state. The change what we can see is earlier this is something called employee reducer, right, and where we have the initial state and the actions, and in actions we are passing the switch case, and based on the case we are doing here the state update. For add, delete or update, we can do our manipulations here. Okay, but in case of employee slice, simply the code is bit simpler. We are still have the initial state here. We will give one property name. Okay, this could be any name, but here instead of actions and all, we will be having one name here, which is employee. I kept in this case, and then reducers. Okay, everything is here only. In this create slice, we will mention the reducer, and in a reducer we will be having we don't have the switch cases here. We will have the add employee. In the case of add employee, what we are doing, to the existing state value, whatever our last state value, we are pushing our payload. Payload is nothing but the values which comes from the our dispatch when we perform an action. We will see more closely this one. So this file and this file reducer looks similar kind of. Okay, slight changes you need to remember. We should not use the reducer now here. Instead of that one, we are using the create slice method. Okay, so this method is important. So this comes from to us from the React toolkit. Okay, so this contains 3 items. One is the name, one is the initial state, and one we will be having the reducer. Reducers will have the different actions inside it, and finally we are like exporting this multiple actions, whichever we want to keep: add employee, delete employee, and we are exporting even the reducers. So this piece of code is very simple now. Okay, and store.ts file, what we are doing here is we will be having the store, and instead of create, here in the case of Redux, we have a method called create store, which got deprecated now. Instead of create store, we will be having the method named as configureStore. That is the second change. Okay, it also comes from Redux.js toolkit. In configureStore, you can provide n number of reducers. For our cases, I given this name as an employee, and we are pointing. We created employee slice here, right? We kept the name. So let's say similarly, I told we can have another storage also, right? Reducers and actions for the users, let's say. So we can create one more feature, userslice.ts, and we can write something here like a user.userslice, user reducer. Okay, and we can import it. So that's why we should have only one store.ts file for throughout the application. The next part is still how we have a main.tsx file. We still need a provider from the React Redux. Okay, from the React Redux we still have the provider, which we will be adding on top of our main component, which will pass the values from the store throughout the application. So this will be remain as it is. Okay, so this is clear. So the only changes we have done is, instead of these two files, we will be having a slice and the method like a create slice, and instead of create store, the method will be here is a configure store in case of RTK. Got it? Now let me go to the application now. So this is my application using the RTK. It is a similar application, right? I am going to enter the name similarly what we have done in our last one, adding the department, adding the employee. These values are updating to the store, and let's see if we are deleting something, again the store will be updated. Same things here. If I go to the code, right, and see what difference it made, I'm opening app.tsx file. It's similar, right? Headers is there, add employee list. What we have seen is it is everything as it is. Okay, now in the header there is nothing, just we are having our headings. And coming to add employee, similarly we are having one input field. On change, we are setting the values to this state, and finally what we are doing is on click of add button. So on click of this add employee, we will call this method save employee, and same method. There is no change in this, and in RTK and our previous Redux, right? So the same thing, we will use the useDispatch callback, which comes from the React Redux. Still in that case also it is coming from React Redux, in this case also it is coming from React Redux, and just we are using the same method and we are passing the updated values from the form to these actions. Okay, and similarly employee list also, employee item also, we will be showing these items, right? Employee name and employee department. On click of delete employee, same thing we are doing here. We are calling the again the dispatch method from useDispatch. It will update, it will call the actions from the employee slice here. Okay, add employee will push the value to the current state, and delete will compare and filter out the id which is which we are going to delete, and it will remove from the current state. And once this is done, reducer part will be done automatically, store will be updated with the latest value and UI will be updated. Exactly same thing, just few minor changes into the syntax and the methods which we are using with RTK. Coming to usage, right? So this is something when we are, how we are calling the methods for updation. So we are using the use dispatch. We have written employee items. So we have seen we are calling the dispatch method from the use dispatch for this action, and to read the values from the store, that is also the similar. Okay, nothing is changed, we are still using the useSelector from the React Redux, and this will contain our updated value and it will display into the grid below. Okay, so everything is same. So let's see what really got changed between these two. Okay, so I'm just comparing the classic Redux with our Redux toolkit. So here in our classic Redux, we will be having the action types and action creator. Instead, now this is createSlice all in one. So it's a combination. It's a combination of reducer and actions, and here these two used to be the separate entity, right? So here lot of boilerplate. Now the less boilerplate code is reduced now. Okay, and auto generated actions, we no need to create a separate actions like classic Redux. In case of RTK, no switch statement, we have already seen, right? We are using here the method as a configureStore, here the method is a createStore, and we are using the switch cases there for different actions, but in this case we don't need a switch statements. Okay, this is same stories like single source of truth, still the same thing we will be having. useSelector will be the same, process will be the same, there is nothing much difference. The difference will be on the createStore, configureStore, and createSlice. Here we will be having the reducer and the actions, and you can see the here like provider is still the same, we are putting the provider on as a wrapper on our parent component. useDispatch is same, useSelector is same. What is changes? Action types are removed, action creators are removed, switch reducers are removed, create stores are removed, configureStore got added, reducer createSlice got added. So this is a difference between these two. In the next video we are going to understand justend. Okay, justend is also the similar kind of Redux store. Okay, but it is more easier than RTK. Some more code got removed, less boilerplate from here to there, and from here to justend also more code got somewhat optimized. But still there will be always a difference between RTK and justend, and some cases we still better to use RTK instead of justend. Okay, and based on the scenario we have to choose the correct Redux store. Okay, and another thing is this RTK will provide us as a toolkit also, like we can better debug in our browsers. Okay, it is coming up with a toolkit for with a Chrome extension. We have to install it in our application, and with the help of that one we can better compare the